Okay, well, hi everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Liam Hartree here today with another episode of Presenting Champions for the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I'm joined by bare knuckle boxing legend Sam Shewmaker, who has fought the best of the best in bare knuckle boxing, competed in boxing as well, been in some very, very tough fights. Today we're going to be talking about his past, present, and future accomplishments in one of the toughest sports in the world, bare knuckle boxing. So Champ, thank you very much for coming on the show, brother. It's an absolute honor to have you here today.
Hey, Liam, I appreciate you having me. It's an honor for me to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, as soon as you're out there working out and everything like that, I was going to ask this later on in the interview, but we'll start with it now. When you're coming up on a bare knuckle fight or on a boxing fight, can you walk us through your training regime a little bit and what that looks like from a day-to-day perspective, please?
Yeah, for sure. Month and a half, 2 months out, you're training hard. We're hitting it real hard. We're watching what we're eating. We're waking up in the morning, getting our road work done early, 4:30 in the morning, getting back to the house and eating breakfast around 6, showering, getting on my way to work, and then get off work in the evening and then head to the gym and get a good 2-3 hour workout in there, whether it's sparring, bag work, weights, just a combination. And sometimes even a little bit of road work in the evening, just depending on how you are.
Absolutely.
And then going home after the gym, eat a little dinner, and then getting to bed.
Yeah, that's a day in your life. Absolutely amazing discipline, amazing dedication. Now, I actually want to go back and talk very briefly about the beginning of your career in terms of what inspired you to be a bare knuckle fighter in the first place. What inspired you to dive into pretty much the toughest combat sport there is, or certainly one of the top three toughest out there. What was your initial inspiration for that right in the beginning?
I started out amateur boxing when I was 17, and then won a few titles in amateurs and had quite a few fights, and then kind of took some time off. I got married, had some kids, and then finally decided to turn pro in boxing. And then right around the same time, I saw an ad on social media for tryouts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for bare knuckle fighting. And so it obviously intrigued me. Being from where I'm from, I grew up, having a few fisticuffs, on the street, and that's just kind of how it was. And then, of course, always being a fan of the old school boxing and knowing that boxing started out bare knuckles. So I was really excited the fact that they were going to bring it back, here in the United States and legalize it. And I wanted to be a part of history. So I went to the tryouts and tried out, and got a call from Dave Feldman saying, "Hey, you made it. We want you in the heavyweight tournament." So, the rest is history. We went and fought in Cheyenne, Wyoming in the first event there, and June 2nd, 2018, 5 years ago, just a few days ago. So, the rest is history. Been a part of the promotion ever since, and hopefully have some fight news coming up here real soon.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about the future shortly as well, because I definitely want to touch on that. Now, obviously, you've been in some amazing fights, and I'd love to talk about them all, but we'd be here until, the evening time, until next week or something. So in your own words, I'd like to get your thoughts on some of your proudest moments, basically, so far. As you say, you've been in the promotion from the beginning, you've been in the sport from the beginning. So with that in mind, what are some of your proudest moments, your favorite fights, some of your personal highlights, basically?
Being able to fight in the first heavyweight tournament and obviously getting to fight in the first heavyweight title fight is probably one of my proudest moments, being a part of that history, even though I came up with a split decision loss against, the ever tough Arnold Adams. I'd say those moments there were probably some of my favorite and most memorable ones, being a part of history, something that, no one can ever take away from us. And we had a really good fight, and, maybe one day we'll run it back. I don't know, but those were definitely probably the highlights, I'd say, so far for me.
Absolutely. I mean, I love asking that question because you never know which fight is going to come back. And it's a big question for you because you've achieved a lot. So thank you for narrowing it down just to one or two. And obviously on the topic of that, people always want to know about toughest fights as well. And the thing about bare knuckle boxing is it's a tough sport anyway. But you've also been in there, as I mentioned already, since the beginning and with the best names. Which fights stand out for being the toughest fights for you in your own words, please?
I think the fight I had with Mick Terrell was pretty tough. It didn't last very long. It was through the first round, but flying internationally and having a fight, having that experience, experiencing just everything, the good, the bad, the ups, the downs, the jet lag and things like that, just getting that underneath my belt. That was probably one of the toughest ones. And plus Mick Terrell, he's one of the top bare knuckle fighters out there. So I feel like his fight with him was probably one of the tougher ones. And I'd love to run it back sometime, maybe even over here in America with that guy. Speaking of that. So just if you're listening, Mick, but hats off to him. He was a better man that day. And it was a real good, tough fight, even though it was a short one. I'd say he was probably one of my toughest competitors so far.
Absolutely. Well, shout out to Mick Terrell. And when I release this, I'll be sure to tag him for you, just to make sure that he sees this. So, fingers crossed on that one. Anyway, so that's absolutely amazing. Now, obviously, something we need to touch on here is being a warrior in one of the toughest sports in the world comes with its highs, it comes with its lows. And you mentioned there about that loss with Terrell. Now, rather than dwelling on any losses, I'm more curious how you bounce back, because to do what you do, it takes a lot of mental strength as well as the physical strength, which is something I respect about fighters in general, but especially about yourself. So in terms of that process, when you have had a tough fight, you have had a fight that hasn't gone your way, but you're saying, right, I'm going to come back and go again. How do you sort of mentally do that? What is your process in that situation, if you get what I mean with this?
Yeah. A loss like that is definitely heartbreaking. You put in so much time, effort, hard work, the money that goes into it, the sacrifices you make, missing out on certain things in life. It's definitely hard to come away with a disappointing loss like that. The biggest thing is just having the right team around you and the supporters and helping you get back up and get back in the saddle and get back to the gym and get back to working at what you know how to do best. We're professionals out there, and you would never succeed if you just gave up, every time that you came up short. So for me, it's just a matter of, like I said, having the right people with you and getting that right positive mentality and getting right back in the saddle and getting right back in the gym and getting yourself ready for the next one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's good to touch on, and the reason I ask that as well is for some of the up and coming fighters out there as well who are just starting out, maybe they're in the amateurs, maybe coming into the pro ranks. It's great for them to hear from a guy like you who's done it all, about how to bounce back when things don't go to plan. On the subject of that, somebody who wants to make it as a fighter, as a high level athlete, whether it's in bare knuckle, whether it's in boxing, which you've obviously done as well. I'm sure there's a lot you'd have to share, but if you had to pick sort of one or two things for anyone listening to this around the world who's sort of in those early stages of a combat sports career, what would be one or two pieces of advice you would like to give to them?
Never give up and always be willing to put in that extra work, go that extra mile, go another extra couple rounds when you feel like you can't. Because you never get back, on some of these losses and things. If you were able to just train a little bit more or run a little bit farther or put just a little bit more in your tank, sometimes that's all it is. That determines whether you win or lose. So my encouragement to them was just do the extra work and to be that little bit, just even 1% each day better. I would highly recommend to at least do that.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Absolutely great advice for sports and really for life as well, in all fairness. Whatever dream you're chasing, getting 1% better every day, it adds up, doesn't it? Absolutely. So obviously you've also had a go at boxing as well, in terms of professional boxing with the gloves on. And I know you mentioned about your amateur career, but in terms of coming back into it in more recent years, is that something that you plan to continue sort of alongside bare knuckle, or maybe even surpassing bare knuckle, or basically what are your plans for boxing with the gloves on for the future?
As long as the money's right, I'll do it both. I'm a competitor. My door's always open for offers as far as that goes. I like to box. I like to bare knuckle fight. A dream of mine would even be able to fight for a big MMA promotion someday. Maybe, I'd like to do it all. I love boxing. I grew up as a boxing enthusiast and just a fan. My father, my grandfather were, and so to me, with gloves or without gloves, I love them both. So I would like to, until I retire, continue to do both.
Absolutely open to everything. Well, here we are. Big respect on that as well. On the subject of the future, you mentioned about you might have some fight news coming up and everything. Now, obviously, I don't know how much you can say about this because depending on the stages of negotiations, how it goes, people can say more, they can say less, whatever. But let's hear a little bit about the fight news that you may have coming up, please.
I'm hoping to be able to make an announcement here in the next week or so. I've been in talks with Dave Feldman with Bare Knuckle, and we've had a talk of a few opponents and a few different dates, and maybe multiple fights this year. So hopefully I can get some more clarification. That way I can announce it to the fans and to the public out there and let them know we got a good fight coming. So I'm excited about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And digging into that a little bit more, I mean, you've fought like a lot of the best guys in bare knuckle so far. Obviously, you fought in different locations. You've done a lot. So when it comes to the future, I don't mind how far forward in time you want to go with this. You mentioned just now a little bit about your dream with like MMA promotion, boxing, bare knuckle boxing, doing a bit of everything. But are there specific people that you'd like to fight that you haven't fought yet? Is there anyone missing off your sort of hit list, if you like, for want of a better term?
I like fighting the best of the best, and high level boxers, high level bare knuckle fighters. I want to fight them all. I want to be one of the guys that has the most bare knuckle fights on the record, win or lose. I want to be in there, and I want to fight the best, and I want to put on a good show for the fans and be remembered as one of the best early pioneers in bare knuckle fighting when they brought it back here in America. So, yeah, I'm open for a good fight with anyone. They match me up tough, and I love it. I think it's great. I don't want to be out there fighting soda cans or nothing. I want to get out there and whoop some people.
Absolutely.
The
Well,
good ones.
yeah, well, this is the thing. What you said there about, your legacy and you're part of history. I think you're very safely on track to be remembered in that way. Just my personal opinion, as being an absolute warrior, but being a pioneer as well, being one of those guys who was in there right from the beginning, fighting the best guys. So absolutely. So moving into the last couple of things with this, because I know, you've got things to do with your day and everything. When it comes to the fights you've had so far, obviously a lot of fights are just business. You don't know the guy, you're going in there to beat him, to fight the best and everything like that. But have there been many that have been sort of personal for you? Because obviously with the Josh Burns one, I think there was a little bit of maybe something there with the way he was in the ring. But I mean, have there been any where you've really disliked the guy that you're fighting intensely, or does that not really come into it for you?
I think Burns is a big character on trying to be the bad guy and stirring shit up, and then he kind of turned around on you. I would definitely love to fight him again. I feel like the fans nor myself got enough. I got caught early on in that fight, and I think that we deserve to give the fans what they want, and that is a rematch, and it's going to be a bloody, nasty one, and I'm going to beat the legs off that guy. He got lucky and caught me with that one. He's a tough guy. He's a heavyweight, so it's going to happen. But I promise you, if him and I were able to fight again, that would not happen again. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I get him again. I've been trying. I've been talking to Dave Feldman, wanting him to come back, but I don't know. We're going to see if it can happen one way or another. Even if I have to fight him, gloves on, gloves off, it don't matter. An MMA fight, I don't care. I want to fight him again. It's personal with him. He made it that way, and
Absolutely. I thought it was. That was sort of the vibe that came over. But there's some very big rematches out there for you. That's very exciting. That's equally as exciting, I would say, as some of the new guys that they might bring forward to fight you. Some are going back and rematching some of the guys. There's some very exciting fights there. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, another thing is, you're very proud of representing the USA. And I mean, it's just something that rightfully so, but I want to get your thoughts on what it means to you to represent your country, not only within your country, but to the world as well. Like obviously I'm over here in the UK and I see you, representing the flag and doing your thing. Got a lot of respect for that, for anyone representing their country. So I'd just like to hear about what that means to you personally, even though it might seem a little bit obvious. I'd just like to get your thoughts on it anyways, as something cool,
yeah. As most people know, tuning in that know me or that's read about me or anything knows that I'm a huge patriot. I love my country. I love the United States. I've had multiple veterans in our family. My grandfather fought in World War II. My dad was in Vietnam. My brother had enlisted and then got out. And then I have a nephew that's enlisted. He was in the military as well. Our roots run really deep in this country, and I'm proud of it. I love it. And, if anybody else has got anything to say about it, then they're gonna have a problem with me. That's just how I am. I true blue-blooded American, and I love it here. So, yeah, I don't know what else I could say about it. But as far as like traveling overseas and fighting for my country, I mean, what an honor that is to wear our colors on my shoulder and walk around and proudly represent the United States in whatever country we're in. But, dignity, dignified too, not acting all a fool, but, trying to represent it well. And I hope that I do that when I'm overseas, abroad fighting.
Absolutely, you do, well, you do in that case, but as well as that, giving a mention to, as you mentioned, your family, the veterans, the people who served. I'm really glad we got to give them a little shout out as well, and give their names a mention. So, on the subject of giving people's names a mention, I mean, pretty much the last thing, really, I think from my side is just anyone you'd like to thank. I mean, in terms of your life and the people you train with and the people who've helped you, everything from BKFC themselves to people you train with daily to your fans. I don't mind what form it takes, but just anybody you'd like to give a shout out to and a thank you to, really.
First and foremost, thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to compete in a sport that I love and to be, return home safely every time, me and my opponents. I want to definitely thank my coach, Sam Shewmaker. He was my uncle and my coach growing up for many years and supported me and helped me get as far as I have. My brothers, my wife, my children, friends, family, my sponsors, coaches, everyone along the way, sparring partners. I just appreciate everyone and all the support and the fact that, I can never give all the support back as much as what, everyone has given me. So, God bless, and thank you so much for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure, champ. And I have to say that personally now, I've followed your career since the very beginning, as you mentioned, since 2018, so to finally have you on the show, it's an absolute honor. I've interviewed a number of guys who you fought with, Mick Terrell, Josh Burns, Beltran, a few others, and, they all speak very highly of you. So to finally have you on the show, it's an absolute honor. Thank you. God bless you and your family as well. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
It's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. You take care of yourself. Best wishes to all of you. And I'll tag you in this when it's released and everything, and we'll go from there. Thank you, champ.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care now. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.